Besides native ES modules and the module pattern, there are also other module systems that have been used by JavaScript in the past. But again, they were not native JavaScript, so they relied on some external implementations. And two examples are AMD modules and CommonJS modules. And in fact, CommonJS modules are worth taking a look at, and so let's do that now. Now, CommonJS modules are important for us because they have been used in Node.js for almost all of its existence. So only very recently, ES modules have actually been implemented in Node.js. And remember, Node.js is a way of running JavaScript on a web server outside of a browser. Now, the big consequence of this is that almost all the modules in the npm repository that we talked about in the beginning of this section, remember? So all these modules that we can use in our own code still use the CommonJS module system. And the reason for that is that npm was originally only intended for Node, which, as I said, uses CommonJS. Only later, npm became the standard repository for the whole JavaScript world. And so now we are basically stuck with CommonJS. And so therefore, you will see probably a lot of CommonJS still around. And so let's take a quick second to see what it looks like. So let's just pretend that we want to export something from this module. So let's get this function here again, like this. All right. And so just like ES6 modules, in CommonJS, one file is one module. Okay? And we export something from a module using export dot and then the name of the export. So let's say export dot add to cart and then whatever we want to export there. Now, of course, this is not going to work in the browser, but it would work in Node.js. Okay, so this export keyword here is basically an object that, again, is of course not defined here in our code and also not in the browser. But in Node.js, it is an important object that is used. Now, then to import something, let's just write this here. So export and import. And so this code is not for you to write. I just want to show this to you. So if we then wanted to import this, would be pretty similar to ES modules actually. But then from here, we will call a require function. So just like this. All right. So again, require is of course not defined here in our browser environment, but it is defined in Node.js because this is part of the CommonJS specification. All right. And yeah, that's actually all I had to show you, even though this is, of course, just scratching the surface. But all I wanted to do here is to just let you know that there are different module systems and that CommonJS is particularly important in the world of JavaScript. Now, in the long run, ES6 modules will hopefully and probably replace all of these different module systems. But it's still going to be a long way until you're there. And so it's good that at least you know what this is when you stumble upon this syntax in the future in your work. Okay, and with this, let's move on to the rest of this section where we will learn how to use third-party packages from npm, how to bundle all modules together, and also how to transpile our code back to ES5 for old browsers.